It's about time I started posting more about my projects. This is the DART Autonomous Robotics Test Bed. It's a lander vehicle that I'm building to test out some novel state estimation and control schemes. The operation principle for this is pretty simple. Basically, you've got your ducted fan, which provides thrust, along with 4 control surfaces underneath it that thrust vector the aircraft. As for the specs of the craft, this thing weighs 3,600 grams. It outputs 4 kilograms of thrust. That gives it a TWR of about 1.1. The flight computer of this thing's pretty simple. It's just a Raspberry Pi 4. This thing talks to a VESC electronic speed controller, a 6 degree of freedom IMU, a servo driver, 3 laser rangefinders, along with a camera. Now that's cool and all, but this thing doesn't even fly properly yet. I have a lot of work to do, and this project log is mostly going to be about the initial progress as opposed to my shit working. The hardware and software side of this is still pretty incomplete. And I've been running into some issues with the actual design of the craft. Getting into the initial stages of the project, basically I saw this thing on AliExpress. It was a electric ducted fan that supposedly output like 8 kilograms of thrust at 12s. These are some pretty good numbers, so I ended up buying one, and the first thing I did when I received it was strapped it on to my roommate's electric skateboard. Turns out I'm a bit too heavy for this thing. However, it do be going.
I think it'll go.
That was kind of disappointing. However, I moved on and I placed this thing on a test stand to get some basic measurements for some preliminary design parameters. Mainly thrust in order to get the weight budget for the craft, and also airspeed, just to make sure that my little control surfaces right here were within the torque limitations of these cheap ass 9G AliExpress servos I'm using. Basically, I just want to make sure that I'm not stalling these things out. So the first hover test for this thing didn't turn out so successfully. I ended up crashing it into my TV, damaging some components, and killing the servo driver. This thing is probably not going to be hopping anytime soon. I have a lot of things to do. The main things on my short list right now involve designing and printing a gimbal test stand so I can, debug some software, tune some parameters without having this thing crash into a wall. Additionally, I need to redo pretty much all of the hardware. I currently don't like my power setup. I don't like my perf board hat for the Pi. It's got some questionable solder joints. Additionally, I've been running into some electromagnetic interference issues, particularly for my LiDAR breakout modules. Basically, I'm running like really long lengths of I2C line. The proper solution for this is to spin up your own boards that use, differential pairs or CAN or something like that. In conclusion, well, I need to fix my shit. I made a lot of design mistakes. I was aware of some of these, and they are all coming back to haunt me. I got a lot of work to do, and I think I'll see you in another project log. Peace.